Hey you guys, it's TopicBricks here. Welcome to another video. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at all the LEGO Harry Potter BrickHeadz ever made. We're going to be seeing if they've gotten any better or any worse, or if there's not really any substantial change in the quality of the BrickHeadz over its 4-year history. If you've got any video ideas for me to make in the future, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below, and if you're subscribed I'll make sure to read those first. So let's get into today's video. So these are all the BrickHeadz, and considering they've only been produced for 4 years, I'm really surprised with how many they've actually made. They've made so many of these BrickHead characters. Now a lot of the characters are duplicates, as in we've got multiple Harrys, Rons, Hermiones, stuff like that. But a lot of them are new and unique characters, and they just look absolutely fantastic. The quality and the standard of these things is just really high from the get-go. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare all of these together, and we'll compare some of the BrickHeadz one-to-one. For example, we've got 2 Hagrids, so we'll just directly compare those. But obviously a lot of these are just, for example, we've only got one of Moody, McGonagall, Dumbledore, Trelawney, stuff like that. So we'll compare those to the detail that's present on the minifigure equivalent versions. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first off we'll be comparing the 2 Harrys. So the Harry on the left came in the 2018 BrickHeadz set with Hedwig, and the Harry on the right came in a bundle with 3 other BrickHeadz in a 4 BrickHead pack with Ron, Hermione and Hagrid. Now they are both meant to be based on an early version of Harry, so basically year 1 Harry, but there are different clothing. So obviously the one on the left has got his black cloak with his scarf out, so it's basically like he's outside, where the one on the right, he's got his jumper open and his cloak open as well, like that. The obvious difference here is the size. Now the one on the right is obviously trying to go for that smaller look to really emphasise that he is tiny in the earlier films, where the one on the left doesn't really take that into consideration. But I think the one on the left is definitely better in terms of the detail because it is bigger, especially the eyeglasses. They're just so much nicer using this piece rather than these sort of minions eyes, these bug eyes. It looks really freaky to me. I think the hair detail, the one on the right, is actually a little bit better. I think there's a bit more scruffiness to it, which is a little bit more accurate, where the one on the left is a bit more rounded. But yes, I'd still say the one on the left is better overall, mainly because of those eyes. But let's move on to the next comparison. Okay, so let's take a look at the 2 Rons. Now these came in different sets as well. The one on the left, the Ron here, came with Dumbledore, where the one on the right came in that previous set I was talking about with Hagrid, Hermione and Harry. Now obviously the one on the right is based on a younger version again, and it's really emphasised here by the size. I don't really like how the top of the head is just open bricks, open studs, where the one on the left is a bit more rounded. So I do actually prefer the hair for the one on the left better than the one on the right this time. And something else to notice is the wands on the older 2018 version, which you can see here, just uses the traditional bar piece which was used in all the 2010 Harry Potter sets and all the years prior, where the one on the right uses the minifigure, the new wand piece basically, which is really cool. But they're actually both wearing the same outfit here, so the cloak with the jumper exposed, but the one on the left does have a scarf. Overall, the one on the left is definitely a lot better. There is no like eye issues anymore though with these two, unlike the Harry versions, but yeah, so far 2018 is definitely better. Okay, so on the left you have what we call the cheapest BrickHeadz ever made. This only retailed for $10, this one here, which is really good value. The one on the right obviously came in that set I was talking about, and the hair on the one on the right doesn't look like Hermione at all in my opinion. Like, it just looks way too, I was going to say way too scruffy. It's not that, it's just the shape of it. It just doesn't, it looks more like Darth Vader than anything else. But for, for $10 basically, let's just move this one out the side. You're getting such a better BrickHead with, much more detail, as you can see with the back printing. The hair looks a lot more like Hermione. You get the book, you get the skirt and everything like that, where here you're not getting too much. I know this is a BrickHead which came with a lot of other ones, but all those other ones aren't too great either, and I know they're meant to be, they're meant to be cheap to sort of go along with that you know, to go along with all the rest of them, meant to be small to go along with all the rest of them, but I'm just not a fan of these smaller BrickHeadz. I think BrickHeadz at this size is the perfect size to incorporate as much detail as possible, and that's why for me the 2018 one wins again for the third time in a row. Now these two Hagrids are probably a bit of a fair comparison because they're both the same size. The one on the right came in 2021 in that set I've been talking about all video, and the one on the left came in a gift with purchase set along with Buckbeak in 2019, I want to say, 2020 maybe, either one of those 2 years. And they're both fairly equal in my opinion. The one on the right does have that printing detail in the middle, where the one on the left emphasises the belt buckle. The accessories are pretty much the same. The one on the right is meant to come with a lantern actually, or the one on the left does. Either one on the left or the one on the right is meant to come along with a lantern. I can't quite remember which one. The hair is pretty similar. The one on the right has a lot more tiling for the hair though, where the one on the left has a lot more exposed studs, and I've got to admit the one on the right does have the better shaping overall, utilising those curved slope tiles, which the one on the left doesn't use at all. So for me, the one on the right just about wins, especially when the colour's a bit nicer as well. So a win for 2021 versus 2020, 2019, whichever it was. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at all the animals. Now, the Nagini came with Voldemort and Bellatrix and its own set in 2021. The Buckbeak came in that gift with purchase I was talking about in either 2019 2020, and the Hedwig came in 2018 with the Harry Potter BrickHeadz. So from oldest, newer to newest, basically the order is, and there's definitely a lot more printing on the newest version, the Nagini. Nagini looks absolutely fantastic here. But my favourite is still Buckbeak because it's the most significant one, it's the biggest, and I just think the detail in terms of not printing but the shaping just looks absolutely fantastic, especially with those wings, and even like the talons and the hair at the top, it all just looks great. And the Hedwig doesn't look too great, it's a little funky. It's probably the size of those smaller BrickHeadz, those Harry, Ron and Hermione ones we saw in 2021, but it's actually just an owl. So it looks better next to the Harry, but as a standalone thing, the Hedwig is pretty naff. But definitely the highlight for these, in my opinion, is the Buckbeak. I mean, it just looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, so with these next BrickHeadz, there's not really many other similar BrickHeadz to compare them to, so we're just going to compare them to the equivalent minifigures in the same clothing, basically. So there is an issue with both of these minifigures, or characters I should say, is that they both have bright purple vest centre torso sections, where in the film Snape doesn't wear bright purple, he wears black, and if the torso vest section is a very, 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 very dark midnight purple, which may be the case, it's certainly closer to LEGO's black colour than their purple colour. So to me this just looks wrong. Regarding the BrickHead, the printing on the vest section looks good, but there is no other printing on the minifigure at all. I mean, the hair works, I guess. You've got like, yeah, I guess it works. You've not got much tiling, it's not much plating on it, it's just mostly tiles, which is really cool. It's definitely a noticeable trend with these BrickHeadz. The older versions have got a lot more studs on the hair, with the newer versions having a lot more tiles. Now this is a 2022 BrickHeadz, so this is the newest you can get. The minifigure, obviously, the hair is very similar, and yeah, they've done a good job of representing this minifigure. The printing could be a little bit more on the actual cape section, and obviously we need to fix that centre section and make it black and not bright purple. Okay, so taking a look at Moody, and this one is actually really, really accurate to the minifigure. I think the way they've done his eye is really, really clever, and the actual printing on the torso matches fairly closely to the minifigure itself as well. And they've even got the sort of flat silver coloured leg, obviously the replacement leg there. Yeah, this Moody BrickHead looks absolutely fantastic. There is no back printing, there is a little bit of back printing on the minifigure, but I don't think it's that drastic that, you know, all you're going to have on the back here is creases, so I understand why they didn't do any sort of back printing. But this Moody looks absolutely fantastic. A big difference though is that the hair colour is dark tan,
where on the minifigure it is light tan. But again, I understand why they didn't do the light tan, because it's going to clash too closely to the light tan of the face and stuff. So that's why they did it in dark tan. But yeah, I think this Moody BrickHead is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so taking a look at McGonagall, as you can see, the big difference already is that the BrickHead is in a bright, normal Lego green, where the minifigure here is in a dark emerald green. And I do prefer the dark emerald green better than the light green. It is also more accurate. I do love, though, on the BrickHead how you can see this sort of gold necklace at the top of the torso. They've replicated it really well on the BrickHead with using a golden ring. I think that's really, really clever. The hat is also slightly different. As you can see with the BrickHead, you have some sort of golden, like, feathers, peacock feathers I think it's meant to represent, which is sort of odd. They don't have that replicated on the hat, but you could say the BrickHead wins out in that comparison because it is more accurate. The hair colour is also different. They're using a dark bluish grey hair colour, when on the minifigure it is a dark tan, as you can see there. So there are some slight differences. Again, no printing on the back, but that's not the same with the minifigure. It has basically the same printing on the back as at the front. The BrickHead doesn't do that, unfortunately. And yeah, I do prefer the Moody BrickHead when it comes to how closely represented the minifigure compared to this McGonagall one, because there are a lot of differences here, and those differences aren't always better. So again, this is an okay BrickHead, but certainly not one of LEGO's strongest. Okay, so taking a look at Trelawney, and this BrickHead is absolutely fantastic. The way they've integrated the bandana into the hair. The hair colour is absolutely the right colour as well compared to the minifigure, as well as the dress colour in that sand green. The colours are spot on here, and the printing is definitely, I won't say it's exactly spot on, but it is fairly close. It's a shame we couldn't do any leg printing, but they have replaced the leg printing by just using different brick colours instead to replicate that, which works really, really well. Yeah, I just think this BrickHead is great. The hair is pretty much perfect. Don't know what I'd do to change that. The glasses are great. Uses the same glasses piece as we saw in the 2018 Harry BrickHead set. So yeah, I think this is a definite pass. We even get the cup as well. We don't get the saucer piece, unfortunately, because that's exclusive to the CMF minifigure, but that's okay. I'd say this BrickHead figure is definitely one of LEGO's best, up there with the Moody one. So here we have Lord Voldemort now. The eyes, in my opinion, are a bit of a letdown because they're the same eyes you'd usually see, but I think it's important to have a bit of the accent in the eyes for Voldemort. On the minifigure you can't really see it too well, but he has those amber eyes, and in the books they're described as red eyes, so just to have them black and the traditional eyes we see on BrickHeadz, it's a little bit disappointing. I wish they did something a bit special for that. But what is noteworthy with this BrickHead is he has a nose, and there's not many BrickHeadz that I'm aware of that have a nose. In fact, if there are any others, please let me know down in the comment section below, because I don't actually know of any other BrickHeadz with a nose. The ears are integrated here, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this is a pretty standard BrickHead minifigure thing. There's not really too much you can do. He has a little bit of printing here, but nothing special. He's just wearing obviously his emerald green cloak, and it's the same with this minifigure. There isn't anything special really with this one, no back printing at all. So a pretty lame comparison, but they've done an okay job, nothing special. But again, it's hard to do something that special with this, apart from maybe do something with the eyes. But apart from that, pretty good BrickHead. Okay, so now we have Bellatrix Lestrange, and as you can see from the get-go, the hair colour is dark brown on the BrickHead, but on the minifigure it is black. Now I imagine they made it dark brown on the BrickHead to give it some contrast against the clothes, but they didn't obviously do that with the minifigure. I think the hair is great. Like, it is really, really great. It's big and bushy, exactly how it should be. The printing is a little lame. It's a criticism with the minifigure and the BrickHead, in my opinion, because there should be leg printing with this. I don't care what anyone says, there definitely should be, because there is a lot of printing to do, and that should be the same with the skirt piece here. They should have some printing there as well. I mean, they did printing on a Bellatrix Lestrange minifigure on the 2010 Burrow set, and that was 12 years ago. I'll put a picture on screen now. So it's a shame that we've had no, printing on this Bellatrix figure, even though it was released 10 years later in 2020. And again, with this BrickHeadz set in 2021, I think it was released. Yeah, 2021 this was released. It is a little bit of a shame. We do have some accents in the hair, some tan accents, which I guess is pretty cool. But, it's definitely not a perfect BrickHead. It's an okay one, but sort of middle of the pack, I'm afraid. Okay, so taking a look at the last BrickHead now, we have what is, in my opinion, the best BrickHead that LEGO have ever done, and it's a 2018 one, so quite an old one, 4 years old now, and that's Dumbledore. So this is the CMF version of Dumbledore, the minifigure in the same clothing, and he is very, very detailed, but so is the BrickHead. If we just take a look at the BrickHead, they've done printing, starting off with the hat, all here on the hat, which looks great, and if you carried on that printing all the way around on all four sides, which is just great, and even with like the sleeves on the arms, you can see the printing here, just looks absolutely fantastic, and they've done that on each side, and it's the same sort of printing we see on the front of his cloak basically, and it just looks great. I love the way they've done the glasses, and we've not just used these sorts of glasses or whatever. They've actually used 1x2 trans clear tiles with printing of the traditional eyes on those tiles, and they've outlined each of those tiles with a golden trim. Like, the detail they've gone to on this BrickHead is really extraordinary, and I think by far this is the best BrickHead that the LEGO Harry Potter team have ever come up with. Okay, so now I'm going to show you all the BrickHeads lined up from the worst to the best. So worst is all the way to the left and the best is all the way to the right. So the further right we get along, the better they are, in my opinion, my personal opinion. So I'm going to see if there's any substantial difference from the older ones in 2018 to 2022. Have they gotten a lot better, or maybe even worse, or is there no basically substantial difference? That's what we're here to find out. So as you can see at the left hand side, we have 3 on the 2021 versions. Not a good start to the more modern ones, but these BrickHeads really are poor in my opinion compared to some of the others. We have Hedwig, again, he works well, or she works well next to the 2018 Harry, but as a standalone BrickHead she's not too great. We then have Nagini, who again looks good next to Voldemort, but Voldemort himself is not that high up because he hasn't got a lot of printing. McGonagall, there's a lot of inaccuracies, that's why she's so low on the list. Again, the bright green dress doesn't really work for me. Same with Snape with the bright purple torso. Bellatrix loses out for lack of printing, same with Hagrid. But then we're getting on to some of the really good ones here, in my opinion. I think after the first Hagrid BrickHead is when you're getting into really, really solid ones. You have Ron from 2018 with that scarf. You have Hagrid, this time with printing, so definite improvement. We have Mad-Eye Moody with obviously the way they've done the golden eyes, just great in my opinion. Then Hermione, I still can't believe that was only a $10 BrickHead set. Absolutely fantastic BrickHead and pretty much perfect. And then we get Harry. Again, the way they've used those glasses is so much better than those bug eyes that we see in the 2021 version of Harry. Trelawney, the printing and detail on that is just great. And then we have Buckbeak, who, again, the detail on Buckbeak, the way they've actually made that into a BrickHead is really, really cool. There's no way I'd be able to do something like that. And then Dumbledore, in my opinion, is the best BrickHead they've ever done. So yeah. So what is the conclusion we can take from this? Well, if you look at some of the best BrickHeads here, we've got one from 2018 being Dumbledore. We have Buckbeak, who's from 2019 or 2020, again I can't quite remember. Again, another 2018 Harry there, 2018 Hermione, a couple 2022 BrickHeads with Trelawney and Moody, with a few more 2021 BrickHeads down at the worst end of things. I think the obvious thing here is that there's no trend between like quality of the BrickHead and year they're released. It's not like they're getting substantially better and better with each year. They've just been consistently at a really high level, which is great. That's what you want to see. So yeah, don't be afraid of getting some of the older BrickHeadz if you do still want to collect them. They are quite expensive, but they are no less quality basically than the newer stuff, in my opinion. But again, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below.
So that about wraps up today's video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and also make sure to subscribe to this channel. I've been TopicBricks. I'll catch you tomorrow for another LEGO Harry Potter video. I'll see you there.